Hello and welcome to our 7th class on how to make your own natural makeup. This class is going to be about how to make blush. So just a quick class overview. We are going to talk about blushes and bronzers today. This is our 7th class. We're more than halfway finished with our lessons now. So our next class is going to be eyeliner, eyeshadow, and lipstick. So those are really fun classes. We're going to talk about putting it all together, and then we will have our final presentation. So quickly, let's go over what your tasks are for this week. So we have 4 tasks for this week. You're going to watch the class lecture video, like always. You're going to watch a video about powder blush. You're going to watch a video about cream blush. And then I have a little bit of a history in makeup making video for you about Rouge Cake, which is a really interesting product we'll talk more about here in a minute. So the first thing we're going to talk about is powder blush. So the first recipe we're going to talk about today is powder blush. You can use hibiscus or you can use beetroot powder for this recipe. You can use arrowroot powder as your base. I have tried this with tapioca flour, although it does not work as well for cream blush or if you decide that you want to press your blush. So if you want to press your blush or you want to make the cream blush that we're going to learn later, it's best to use arrowroot powder. The blush recipe also has cinnamon to give a little bit of warmth. And you can add mica if you'd like. If you want a little bit of a shimmer, you don't have to. Relatively simple, blend your ingredients together in a mortar and pestle or a coffee grinder. Either one will work. If you do it in a coffee grinder, you do want to make sure that you give it a little time to rest before you open it up or it will go everywhere. Okay, so go ahead and you're going to want to watch the video on how to make powder blush. It's relatively simple, not a hard recipe to make. And this is really best used in the summertime. It doesn't give quite as bright a tone as the cream blush recipe that we're going to learn about does, but it is a nice natural, gives you a nice natural glow, and it's not too heavy, so that's why I said to use it maybe in the summertime. It's not a real heavy blush. So go ahead and watch that video. So the next thing we're going to talk about making is a cream blush. So the process for making a cream blush is a little bit more involved. With the cream blush recipe that we have here, we have a water-based substance, the aloe gel, and we have oil-based substances, your shea butter and your wax. This is why in this recipe we use an emulsifying wax. So what an emulsifier does is an emulsifier allows two things to go together, something water-based and something oil-based to be able to blend together. If you've ever tried to blend oil and water together on your own, you know that they don't blend together. In order for that to happen, you have to have an emulsifier. In this case, we're going to use emulsifying wax. Some people also use borax as well. I generally don't, but it is definitely an option. And you see it used in things like lotions, body creams, things like that, where you want something that's more of a liquid consistency, a watery consistency. So you do have to do a little bit more work for this, for the cream blush, but your cream blush is going to give you a more vivid hue, a more brighter color. And it's a little creamier, so it's a little heavier, maybe something that you'd want to wear in the winter as opposed to something you want to wear in the summer. Now you can go ahead and you can watch the video on how to make your cream blush. So the video for cream blush, you need the recipe from the first recipe, the powder blush recipe, and you're going to use that as your base for this. So once you have that powder blush, then you can go ahead and you can make your cream blush. And in the video, this video that I've made for you, if you look closely, when you start to add the aloe into the waxes, you can see how it blends together, and you can see the change in the color of the mixture, and that's the emulsification project. So if you look close, you can see where that happens. So kind of take note of that. Now, I just have one more quick recipe for you today, and that's for a bronzer, for a natural bronzer. For this recipe, we're using a lot of the same things that we have used before: cinnamon, cocoa powder, arrowroot powder. You're blending them together just like you've done before. For this recipe, you can also add in a little bit of nutmeg. It gives it just a little more browner kind of tone. For this recipe, if you wanted to, you could also add in mica as well if you wanted a more sparkly bronzer. And again, relatively simple, similar to your blush recipe, only you're going for a brown color as opposed to a red color. Now, the next thing I have for you today is a video on how to do a rouge cake. And I think this video is absolutely fascinating. So rouge cake, as you will learn in the video, this one I believe was from the 30s or 40s, but a similar recipe has been used throughout history. And when you make this, it's like she says in the video, it's hard. It's not like a cream or like a powder, or even like a pressed powder. When you make it, it's like a brick. She's not kidding. I've made this recipe. It's a fabulous recipe, and it's a lot of fun to make. It can be a little bit costly because if you don't have the ingredients nearby, but it's a lot of fun, and the history is really, really interesting. So this is the recipe. It involves, like I said, a few other things, and if these aren't things you keep around the house, it can be a little pricey. That's calcium carbonate, zinc oxide, kaolin clay, and then it uses gum arabic or acacia as a binder. Okay, that's kind of what gives it that hard feeling when you're finished with it. You use pigment in it. You can use iron oxide, or you can use cochineal beetles as well, or cochineal, which is made from beetles. That's up to you. If you don't want to use beetles, you don't have to. You can use iron oxide, which is what I have done with this recipe, and it makes, you'll see it in the video, it makes this just really warm, wonderful color. I really like the color for this. It's all bound together with rose water, so when you're finished with it, it actually smells really good. It smells like roses too, which is nice. Now, when I made it, mine cracked around the edges. So when she makes it in the video, she adds a little too much rose water. I tried to back up on that, and mine still cracked around the edges though. So really, really, if you do decide to make this, be very, very careful about how much rose water you add to it. You need just enough to get it wet and make it smooth enough that it'll smooth out, instead of cracking. Now, you can use it if it's cracked, it's not a big deal. But if you want like your nice, pretty, perfect rouge cake, then do be careful about how much rose water you put in. Okay, so this is the video. You can go ahead and watch it. The link to it is in your lesson for this week. And this is a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoy this video because she's a lot of fun too. So I really like this lady who does this video. So enjoy that. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know. And otherwise, I will see you next time. Bye-bye, guys.